Welcome to Reality After Show coverage of the Challenge All-Stars 4. Today we are talking episode 8. I'm Dan Montchal, and I'm incredibly lucky because I'm in a better spot than Cara Maria, where her two best allies are Ace and Handjob Steve. I'm in much better hands, no pun intended there. I'm with my ride or die Alex Pratt and good friend Lauren Pratt. Alex, Lauren, how are you doing?
Since when was my last name Pratt?
Are we brother sister or related?
Yeah, nope, was going too fast. That was my bad,
Yeah.
but you know, Alex.
It happens.
Lauren
But
Pratt.
hey, look, it's fitting, because I have all this power. I'm on the top of the video. If you're watching on the audio right now, I could throw myself in right now if I wanted to, and I could disrupt everything you have planned right now, Killer Dan. Because I don't like seeing bullies and I don't like seeing people using me as a puppet, but instead I will be a puppet and just sit here. I'm not dressed for the occasion.
Didn't have the proper attire.
I'm not showing enough of my chest. Not yet.
It's coming.
Wait for the summer. Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. I will say, disappointing episode overall for me. The worst of the series so far. Stand corrected on that, right? You guys same page a little bit?
Are you happy to be here like most of this cast that doesn't want to go and get a star?
Well,
you're just here to... Oh, not the sneeze.
It's...
Bless you.
I think this episode, it's going to be polarizing because there's so many people that are upset with the outcome, upset that it's everyone back, against Cara. And I agree. I know, as most people watching the show and watching the season, how can you not root for Cara? But for people out there that are just bashing it, that, oh, this is the worst season ever, be like, this episode, while you may not have liked it, gave us more drama entertainment than anything that we've seen in the past 2 years on the challenge.
Well, what I've learned about reality TV fandom in the last 24 hours is they're a very fickle bunch. They just can't accept being entertained and people being bitter and people doing stuff that doesn't make sense. So you know what? That's fine. If you're someone that was on this season and you somehow are listening to us, and really you should, because we give such insightful advice to all you people that are experienced pros in what you do. Block the haters. These half these people live in a basement. You can move on.
That's fair.
That's where the niceties end for me on this podcast.
Well, I was waiting for the rampage of Trias to start going out on there, but I will say the entertainment was absolutely there. The reason why I say it was the worst episode of the series was just based on all the different factors that came into it and how everything was handled, in my personal opinion, and people not thinking for themselves and literally playing for a couple.
And not realizing it until suddenly they both have a star. And then you're like, oh, let me go in confessional, be like, look, now I'm being wise as opposed to everyone else. There's two people here as opposed to Cara, who's one person. I'm like, wow, what a brilliant concept. There's someone that if they win or lose, they have another person right there when only 6 people can go to the final, and you're allowing 2 of them to go, and now you're going to let the other estranged couple that fight, cry, and drop their pants in the sauna to be the other 2 people? That's very limiting on the amount of spots left for the rest of you.
That was my biggest takeaway, outside of some of the obvious things that you take from this episode, was sure Nicole and Laurel are not the same as Cam and Leroy. They're not together.
And they're not sharing the money. The money
they're not
each other.
They're not sharing the money. But you keep getting down later and later in this game, and you're letting 4 people dictate how the rest of the show is going to play out. Unless you're Jay, who Jay's tight with Nicole there, where's your avenue if you're one of the other players there? How are you getting to the
Especially
end?
if you're a woman? Because we're going to sort of be all over the place on this podcast because really the whole episode is fluid. It's a bunch of people that are angry at Cara Maria because she's shady and she's doing it, which is just propaganda spewed around the house. Because guess what? No, none of them want to, rightfully so, run against her in a final. If it ended right there from a competitive standpoint, not a TV standpoint, whatever. That's fine. Like, cool. That's the game. Like, it's an individual game. But don't go throwing around when it's the entire house minus Handjob Steve and Sleep on the Couch Ace from the hardware store. It's like, look, this game is selfish. You're right, Nicole. She is being selfish because guess what? How many people win the fucking game? One.
Which, it just makes no sense that you're being selfish like that. Well, okay, Leroy's being selfish because he wants Cam to go get a star.
Yeah,
everyone in this game is being
she's
selfish.
bullying an entire house to bend to her will. And which, by the way, of all the people that I'm like spewing venom to on this podcast, and really my venom's very light. They should be thankful when I'm on a rage day. But like, Cam actually played very well this round. She manipulated the mechanics of the game and got everyone to bend to her will because of just all the propaganda she was spilling about Cara Maria to get everyone against Cara Maria so that they would all agree on a specific order. And for a lot of them, against their own best interests. I'm looking at a lot of people in the middle. I'm looking at specifically Veronica, who agrees to it with a star, allowing herself to go onto the bottom and be an option, even though obviously no one's going for her. But what's going to happen as soon as Cam grabs Cara's star and Laurel now wants to get a star? Is she going to take it from Cam? No, they just created a deal. Is she going to take it from Nicole? No, she's fucking her. So where does that leave you, Veronica? Especially when now we've had multiple episodes of this mastermind strategist who loves beating her own ego and pushing down others, has allowed her two top allies in this game go to the wayside because of her stupidity of joining in on a plan based off of fear. Cam is one person. With Leroy, sure, that's two people. You can spin around against two people, just like how you can spin against one. It's not that hard.
Right. I think people had the mentality originally where it was starting to slowly build with what was going to be the actual plan, and then people were thinking in their mind, I guess I'll just go with the flow because I really don't know what else to do and I don't want to become a target. But at the end of the day, there's only 6 people that are running the final, so you have to look out for yourself there. Avery, I don't know what she was thinking, and obviously we'll get there, but one of the best matchups you can get is going up against Tina, and she chooses to wait. What are you waiting for? Who do you want to be able to go up against? Like, who is good enough for you to think that you can go down and beat them?
Mm-hmm. See, my whole thing, you know what? I'll wait till we get to the actual challenge to break it down further. Dan, I'll give the reins back to you. I said I would be a puppet. I'm here to follow my directions.
You know, just shots at Tina. She's 1-0 in elimination. I get it was against nobody, but you know, never forget. Anyway, starting off at the top, episode 8. This was a weird recap from Adam. It was very Zen and Buddha-y, and I have no idea what it was going for, so I don't have many notes on it because it just
it was the weakest one.
Yeah, it was terrible
one so far. It's like, to be fair, it's hard to go up against Handjob Steve.
Well, I mean, he's just undefeated, and handjobs end in life, so how can you compete with that firepower? But we start out with random. It's not going back to the house. We're on a boat. We're having a boat day.
We're on a boat.
We do see Adam that he feels confident with the star back. Tina wants her star back, and everyone just seems to be having a good time. And this is just the calm before the storm.
Yeah, you knew it was Tina's boot episode as soon as Tina talks about a star. Adam, you know, it's incredibly selfish of Adam to want to have his star back, by the way. I just want to mention that since we're talking about people being selfish here. Like, he demanded everyone to allow himself to go back in to reclaim his star that was, I guess, wrongfully taken from him because he was the only star available. How selfish of Adam.
Well, I mean, Adam, what can you say about him? He's out there just giving massages that it's made clear that there's nothing sexual about it. But you don't get that from Steve. When Steve gives you a hand job, you know exactly what to expect. So we can't all be Steve.
Yeah, Steve's the only one who's selfless.
What a selfless guy.
I can't believe Steve has risen up in my standings right now.
Yeah, you're in our group. We're in the group chat, and Lauren goes, "How is Steve like a top 3 person that I'm rooting for right now?"
Oh, he's third. I think he's officially third. He's there.
He hasn't quite been JGMTV for me, but
see, for that it isn't that I'm rooting for him to win. I'm rooting for him to be there for every single episode because he makes the show better.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Like, this is the goofiness I prefer.
More Steve. You heard it here first, MTV. But we even see on the boat that it's Laurel and Nicole. They continue to be all over each other. And then this is really where we get the shit show started of Laurel talking to Cara out by the pool. And it seems like Cara's just being a really good friend. And then that bitch Cara decides to give some selfless advice. And that's where everything seems to go south this episode.
So here's the issue. We've all been there before. In either for yourself in a relationship or a friend in a relationship. It's very college-like, you know. It's this person your friend is with. It's bad news. They've been together before, or they were still together. Toxic relationship. They don't treat your friend right, and you've just been sitting there this whole time consoling. It's okay. You get to a point where you're just like, look, I'm going to give you the hard truth right now. And the truth is you need to cut this bitch off. And the issue here is if Laurel's full intention is she just wants to dump the problems towards someone and then move on and still be in this problematic relationship, that's her prerogative. But you also have the responsibility to communicate that to your friends while you're doing that dumping, or they are going to give you advice. You can't just have people think that, oh, I know that this is all Laurel wants. You have to be able to communicate, which is also a bigger part of this issue as well.
Yeah, well, too, you also have to look at just their history in general. It's been so up and down. They've been there for each other. They haven't been there for each other. And then you have this moment right here, and it's kind of, what is it going to turn out to be? And obviously we see in the episode what it does turn out to be. But originally, I really do think Laura was there seeking some type of advice, because otherwise she wouldn't have wanted to have the conversation with her, because she says to all of us, I want to talk to Cara because I feel good with Cara in the sense of just comfortability, you know? So just watching how it unfolded, you as a viewer originally probably aren't expecting it unless you see the preview, of course, but it seemed like a normal conversation until Nicole gets involved.
Well, and it's just like it's Cara being a good friend, because sure, there's some times where people just want to vent and they're like, hey, I don't want your feedback. I don't want your advice. I just need to get this off my chest. But if you're truly a good friend, or even just decent person that, you know, you're somewhat good friends with, and this person is coming to you, they're talking day after day of not sure what to do, and it ends with the fact that they are crying on your shoulder, I feel it's just the decent thing to do. Be like, hey, maybe we should reevaluate some things and look about how we want to go forward with this. Because if they're driving you to this point, there's something that clearly isn't right, either between the two of you or an issue that the two of you need to resolve, because you can't keep going forward like this because it's breaking you down.
Yeah. And like, it's sort of, you know, like we talked about the other week that like Brad wasn't in the right headspace for the game. Like, Nicole being in this house has made Laurel's head not in the game. Like, I'm not saying this means that like Laurel can't win. I like anyone who tries to say now that Laurel can't win the game because her head's not in it and she's just in a Looney Tune state is kidding themselves. Like, I still fully believe she's a contender to win as soon as she's able to get a star, unless she does something stupid and like throwing herself in the wrong elimination. But in this specific like personal relationship here, one, stop throwing in our faces or in Cara's face that like, oh, when's the last time we talked outside the show? Like, we get it. We fucking get it. She's a hermit when she's outside the show. But in this show, who is it that you are going to? If that was such an issue, you would go to someone else. Why aren't you going to all the other people that you talk to outside the show? Why are you going to Cara instead? Like, you're going to Cara because you feel, like Lauren said, the most comfortable with her. So it doesn't fucking matter if you guys don't talk off the show. If your relationship in the show means something like that, where you're going to her of all the rest of the people in the fucking house to cry about this relationship that you have with Nicole, who's dumb as rocks.
And speaking of Nicole, Nicole sees this conversation happening. She gets all pissy about it. And cue to the next day where she confronts Cara in the kitchen, just calling her selfish and throwing a ton of other, just slander.
She, again, us showing and proving that we're right, that she doesn't know what words to actually say. So she keeps throwing the same two words out of selfish. I'm like, okay, how is she being selfish for standing up for a friend? Tell me how that makes sense. Do you think Cara's secretly in love with Laurel and she's trying to steal her away from you, Nicole? Like, no. That's not what's happening. She sees you as a piece of shit and she's calling you out for it.
No, but Nicole still thinks Cara's obsessed with her for some reason. That's what she was expressing to everyone.
That's a funny thing because one person constantly has the other's name in their mouth in all of their confessionals. And last I checked, it's not Cara talking about Nicole, besides calling Nicole an idiot.
And you could just, if you couldn't tell from how the season's been playing out that it's going to get worse from here, the dead giveaway is after this interaction, Laurel goes and comforts Nicole. And it's just like, oh no. Like, at this point, you're bringing it upon yourself, Laurel. There's nothing that can be said. It gets worse. We'll get there.
You made your bed. Your bed. Lie in it. Well, I guess not in Nicole's bed, though, because we know there's rules.
Yeah. The only other thing that happens prior to the daily is, if no one else was aware, Leroy and Cam left their kid Kingston at home. We see a little FaceTime video there. We get it. It's not dismissive towards either of them. Just nothing that we really need to talk about. On to the daily.
It was just proving that Cam's going to go get her star. That's all it was for, because we got the pure... We didn't even get the, I guess the family member that was helping out.
It's Leroy's sister.
Sure. But we didn't even get that. We just got them staring at Kingston's face. They had to put in fake baby audio.
That's fair.
But I love Leroy and Cam outside the show. They're the villains in my eyes in this season, but hey, they're letting them be the villains. So
is that the first one where we've seen the person not actually go home when they have the video call?
This season, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was just wondering what the track record was, that because I was pretty sure.
I think it's only we only saw where it's happened twice. So it was Brandon and Kifla. Yeah. Yep. So that is the first time with that. Moving on to the daily. This one is called Balls Up. Oh, Steve, this one should be meant for you, but you struggle, buddy.
Steve versus Matt Bischoff.
You're playing as individuals. It starts out in 2 heats. It's just like it was last week, where if you're eliminated first from the heat, you're in the losing group. If you finish in the top half, you move on to the third heat. That's the winner's heat. You're in a mud pit. Above the mud pit, there is a net, like a cargo net with balls in it. There's going to be balls that are going to be assigned to your color, as well as black balls that are filler. Your goal is to have your balls be in the net the longest. Lots of balls, lots of poles. What could go wrong for Steve?
Hitting the black ones, obviously.
And some of his own.
Yes. Black and brown balls going everywhere. Okay. So, obviously, the main thing that happens is now Laurel, who's in a vengeful rage because of the audacity of a friend speaking up and defending her to the... I'm not calling Nicole an abuser, but for the lack of a better word, whatever, the
I'll
bad
do it.
person,
I'll
the
call her
bad
that.
person in the relationship. You can call her that. That's fine. But like we see Cam and Laurel make a deal essentially, which one is the thing that I'm like, here's part one of everyone in the house. You're so scared of Cara, and it's like a historical thing of always, if Kara's in a game outside of like War of the Worlds era, it's like you're getting targeted. Like Kara's getting targeted left and right and center. Can't let her get to a final, even though she's only won twice. But I get it. She won the first solo one, so whatever. By always focusing on that, you're also just allowing, like, you make this whole deal and you agree to this deal amongst the house to give who everyone looks at as also one of the strongest people in the house in Cam, the star instead. You then have Laurel, who's now tight with her, who none of you are going to be like woman enough to go against. So is she just going to grab her star too? And now you have two great beasts going in instead of just having to deal with Cara, let alone before you even factor in the men, because really the men I'm more looking at as meh at the moment. So it's just like, and then Nicole's there, but we know if she's even there, she'll get injured or get confused at a math problem that's 2 + 1. So that's not really a risk either.
For me, the biggest issue that I have with Cam is because, like you mentioned earlier, I'm not going to knock for the strategic game that she's playing. Like, you can hate that everyone's giving her this control. It's not her fault that she took
Hate the game, not the player.
Yeah, she did all that. My biggest issue with Cam is she's doing all of her digs in confessionals, because I know there's a few that we're going to get to that are clearly filmed after, what already happened in confessional. But we see one right here where, I'm not afraid to go in against Cara down in elimination. I think you are, but you're easy to say that because when you're filming this confessional, it's being said after you know the outcome and you don't actually have to go against Cara.
Yeah, because that was part 2 here. I'm like, so they're like, oh, here's our 2-part plan in order to get rid of Cara. First, we steal her star by not having her be in elimination. And then we'll eliminate her by giving her an opportunity to reclaim her star. So my first question here to the master plan is, why not manipulate the game to, I don't know, if you're not afraid to go against her, both of you being on the bottom, and then if the whole house is with you, they'll just vote both of you in, and then you can take her out. A concept.
I just think Cam wanted the easy route, honestly.
Well, no, because she still needs to have Cara out.
Well, but I think
if that's part of the plan already, why not just take her out and take her star like that and really show who's the bad bitch, because you didn't stick up for me when I said I need you to ride with me and vote for Rachel, even though the main point was taking Ayanna out.
My guess is there. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to say my prediction, what I think Cam wants. I think Cam wants Laurel to take out Cara, so Cam doesn't have to do it. So Cam gets her star already. So that's, when we're looking at
then
deals
plan
here,
for Laurel to go down this round.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think Cam wanted to get her star first right away. The deal sounds great because Cam knows I have my star, and then Laurel has to go do Cam's dirty work and take out Cara if that's what the big entire picture is going to look like in Cam's mind, because she's like Tina, Flora, Veronica. They sound nice,
Yeah, and that's the next part here. So we have the first part, and Veronica agrees, and not just agrees, because they're making the order in their group, like specifically, and like everyone sees it happening, and Veronica basically agrees to be one of the people on the bottom. My agreement to this deal would be, okay, you want to go in, then rig it for me to win. Rig it for me to win. I'm at the top. I get voting power at the very least. You're not putting my star at the bottom. Like, if I'm Veronica, I want leverage. And so I'm, and it doesn't work in this episode for her when she tries to do the leverage because, you go against Laurel, and Laurel's strategy is I don't talk strategy. And if you talk strategy to me, I go Hulk rage. But like,
she took a page out of Jordan's book. She doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
that's why they hooked up. Let's be real.
Very similar.
They're very similar. Who needs strategy when I could just hit something? But that's part one, because not only that, you're now negotiating where you and your number one are on the bottom. Why wouldn't you then just negotiate? We'll let Flora be on the bottom, and then we just have all men eliminated in the bottom. You have 2 other men get eliminated at the bottom, and then you get like as many men as possible on the other side on the bottom. So then you don't even have the chance for Cara or whatever to try to do anything because there's only 2 women on the bottom. And then you get 2 people there right away because it's not a men's elimination day, but yet men can still be on the bottom. It's like there's these things I'm like, there's all these other plans that you could have added onto this that would have made it such a more like straightforward deal.
You are speaking Steve's language. All these men on the bottom, that is so many hand jobs.
Too bad he's not focusing on the bottom. He's looking up with his just taking his pole and thrusting it into the net, colliding all these balls together. They're clanking together.
Well, he's used to doing the job. This is finally him letting loose and having some fun, all right?
He was really helping his own ball drop. That's for sure.
He was. How do y'all think Ace felt about seeing the plungers?
Well, they didn't go down. They went up, so I think he's fine.
Fair enough.
He
seemed to just be like, I just like hitting stuff. I just like hitting stuff and not focusing on the strategy that you would need to have, because one, he can't think strategy. That would probably be like immoral to him to ever think in a strategic sense. But I'm like, let's just keep moving.
Ace also definitely got a concussion during that. So unless he watched it back, which you could easily convince me that Ace doesn't have a TV at home, definitely doesn't have Paramount Plus, there's a solid chance he doesn't remember it because that's how bad he got beat. That it's all a blur to him. But so Heat 1 is over and it goes exactly as it's planned. It's Cam, Jay, Derek, and Veronica are in the losing group for Group 1. And Cam kind of just keeps talking her shit into Heat 2 of, well, if you come in last, I'm going against you.
That's the second part that infuriated me. If you're all these people, because like you then have like a bunch of professionals from Avery being like, I don't like that, like we're being told what to do, whatever, and then like continues to just be told what to do. Like, if you want to make a statement, make a fucking statement. Like, I get it, you want your paycheck for like your time like there, because every time like you expand a week, you get more than just your committed pay, your committed fee. But the arrogance on someone to be able to like intimidate when she's not even playing the round, and it's one person who hasn't even been in an elimination yet, and like, congrats, you beat Tina in a trampoline competition. Like, whoop the fucking do. Like, like I'm not intimidated by this version of Cam yet. But these people seem to all be intimidated by her. And they just bend. They bend to her will. Without even thinking of what the future repercussions are of allowing a couple have stars.
But I think it's different in time period as well. If this were to have occurred episode 1, episode 2, mentality of go with the flow, just vibe for a little bit, fine. But we're on episode 8. Time is ticking where the final is coming up. You have to play for yourself, because if you don't, you are not going to get a star, or your star is going to get taken away from you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it sucks to kind of see how it happened, and especially because everyone's playing for Cam and Leroy here. I don't feel 100% secure saying this is how the rest of the season is going to go. I'm almost hoping that this was
I don't think so.
what broke the dam, and we're going to start walking some of that back coming next week.
I believe
people
so
actually
because
wising up to it.
I believe so just because also like a third of these people were just claimed to be Cara's minions last week, and then we get them all in confessional talking about how shady she is because she has the audacity to want to keep her star. Which is, the sole purpose of this specific season of the challenge is to get a star and hold on to it. So, we get through all this stuff. Cara makes it through to the next round, as Cam and Laurel said, they failed. The other group failed at their goal.
It's Flora and Tina are the two women that are going to the losing group, also with Ryan and Steve. But because it's not a men's day, it doesn't matter. It was just Steve. He calls himself useless. I have to highlight, the bright spot of the show outside of Cara, which if you would have told me 6 weeks ago it would have been Steve, I would have called you a liar. So we're going on.
Handiwork really paying off in dividends.
It really is. We go on to the winning heat, and it's more of just the same. It's Laurel and Cam determining that, Ace and Avery have to win. That way it controls the vote for the middle group. They did. Ace and Avery won.
No, I mean, did they need to win? They're like, of all the options here, we need to have Ace and someone who could call themselves down if they want to.
They should have let Nicole win.
Yeah, either let Nicole win or let Adam win.
Well, it would have had to been. TJ did say one of each gender.
One guy, one girl.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But can we talk about this?
But you could have done. Yeah, you could have been like Adam and Nicole.
Because they're saying everyone is on board. So I'm just like, why are you guys so insistent that outside of Ace giving Ace a win? I get because he's with Cara. But literally everyone else on there is on board with your plan for whatever fucking stupid reason that they have in their head that this is a good idea, because it's not. Just put Nicole up there. Boom, there you go.
Where I was the most confused, because seeing this from Cam, it didn't surprise me. Seeing Laurel jump on board and didn't surprise me. But it was the others that really got me surprised, because we see going into this final heat of Adam going, Cara's playing a shady game. It's just like, you were the one that was pushing harder in deliberation 2 weeks ago than she was, where you were both aiming for the exact same thing. So what exactly did she do that's shady that now has you talking shit in confessional when you wouldn't say it before?
Well, I feel like once you hear someone say it, everyone goes, it's word of mouth. But let's talk about this too. Cara's pitch to Nicole, and then Nicole calling her selfish for that pitch. I think what Cara was saying actually made sense, because she's not wrong that they would come for.
She's 100% right. And it's why losing Rachel so early was such a big blow for her. Is Rachel understood the assignment. Was she eventually going to go after Cara to get a star for Tina to make sure Tina and Veronica? But Rachel understood it was about timing. And so in the meantime, people with stars need to protect each other, especially those that won the first challenge. You immediately not only have the target of having the star, but you have the target of competing very well. So at this point, you either have to decide we are working together to protect each other, or we're going at each other's throats. And at that time, they agreed they weren't going to go after each other. Nicole, if she had even one brain cell, would realize this too, where you're against Cara right now, but Cara's look, I'm not even trying to fuck with you right now. If you just give me safety, and Cam can still get her star, Laurel can still come after me this very next round. If it's a double elimination or a girls round, Laurel can still come after my star, but your star won't get taken because you guys all have these deals. So only Veronica's star will get taken. Now, in Cara's mind, that works. The thing that that goes against it all. It's just that, Cara's just obsessed with Nicole, Oh, sorry. Nicole is obsessed with Cara. Sorry, I'm misreading the notes I have in front of me. Nicole is obsessed with Cara and still can't stand that she can't have Cara. So Cara has to go because she had the audacity to tell the truth.
Cara's biggest flaw here is that she's trying to reason with an idiot. And that's just something you unfortunately can't do. And Nicole has proved that. And so we see them getting chippy the entire time. Is you could see that this is not just Nicole's strategy in the challenge. It's her strategy in life. She figures if she can kind of give the little cheap shots and be louder and more abrasive than everyone else, that she gets what she wants and everyone bends to her will. Because you can tell it if she's getting out of the pit, she's talking shit to Cara and be like, if you do that, like, I'll knock your ass out. And Cara with no hesitation says, do it. And you could see that there was a pause in Nicole being like, oh shit, no one actually just comes back like that and says yes. And then it probably more like 3 seconds because her head's spinning that, oh wait, I got to pretend like I want to fight now because otherwise I'll look like a baby back bitch.
Taking the punch, no problem. And like, see ya, bye. Wouldn't have an issue.
And if I'm Cara, that's exactly what I do.
Yep.
I'd be like, you did not just help have this whole entire ass group on my ass for this challenge and think I'm going to lie down for it. You're fucking stupid. I'm going to get in your face about it. And if you hit me, you hit me. I ain't even going to strike back. You're the one who's going to go home because you're an idiot. And if you don't go home, sure, I want to run the final with you, Nicole. You're a flop. How many triangles, girl? You still can't count. How many sides are on a triangle? Huh? I can't understand you. You have marbles in your mouth.
Where's Devin when you need him? So this...
What's 8 times 9?
Yeah, we got...
I wouldn't even go that route. What's 1 plus 1?
We got exactly as they wanted. It was Ace and Avery won. Middle group made up of Leroy, Adam, Laurel, Cara, and Nicole. And just because I need my little spots away from this whole drama mess, I found one, and it came at the hands of Ace, where after he's winning, Ace says, winners expect to win. And so he's not surprised that he won. And I was like, Jesus Christ, Ace.
After last week saying, oh, no problem. It was always yours regarding the star. It's just...
Winners expect to win, because that's how I would describe Ace, as a winner.
I'm holding my peace. I'm holding my peace with this man who's just rarely there. I don't truly believe he knows what show he's on.
No,
I feel like
we talked about it. Concussion.
I feel like he believes he's like on the Truman Show. He is just a dude out here in the world, sleeping on couches.
Yeah,
it's been entertaining for me, so I'm not mad about it.
Define entertaining. He's not giving hand jobs out.
Well, nobody's that entertaining, but
exactly.
He has this small moment. I don't hate that he's there.
Right.
I'm not going to be sad if he goes, but I don't hate that he's currently there. Unlike where there's, I don't know, let's say Flora, who's there right now, every chance she gets has the opportunity to bash Cara and says that she's manipulative, but somehow can't see that Cam has completely manipulated her. And no, she'd never want to go against Cam. She's a destroyer.
It's always the puppets of other people that get upset by other puppet masters. You're not a master. You're obviously evil. Like Flora, grow the fuck up. Like, come on. Remember, Flora, your girl faces tennis players 10 times her size. How about you grow a pair?
Production's sitting there going, it didn't go to plan having Flora leave week 2, week 3, even maybe week 4 would have been okay. It just didn't pan out this season.
I was hoping she was getting voted in today.
It would have been nice.
But again, you know what? They were smart about it because they were like, no, if we put Flora in against you, Avery will absolutely go down and go for her star.
I'm sure other people were voicing it. It's Leroy who's the one that we hear voice it to Cam. And this is the other thing of Cam and her confessional cuts of, well, now it's personal with Cara because before she blocked me from getting my star. And I never said that I was going to take her star.
Roll back the
yes,
tapes.
you did.
Roll
you
back
100%
the tapes.
said that.
We literally knew from jump that all of you wanted Kara's star at some point, but Cara was protecting hers as, you know, being the selfish person that she is. God damn that Cara Maria wanting to do the bare minimum of what this game is about, which is holding on to a star so that she could run a final. How dare she?
I mean, the next thing that we see is Veronica strategizing. We don't really need it. It's horrible.
She flops.
It's not good.
You know, for someone who keeps talking shit on her friend Tina for her bad political game, Veronica hasn't really shown her political game this season. Oh my God, she fooled Nicole.
Well,
look,
to be fair, having a good
this shoe could fool Nicole.
Well, that's what I was going to say is having a better political game than Tina, it isn't a good accomplishment. That's like saying anyone's smarter than Nicole. Like, it's just facts. It's the way that it is. It was upset, but I get more confused going to it's Laurel and Cam again. Is that Laurel comes up to her and it's like, all right, we have an agreement. First, you take Cara's star, and then we get her out of the game. Are you on board with me? Cam is just like, yeah,
yes.
Perfect. I'll get you the matchup that you want. It's just like
Laurel's just like in a blind rage right now. Like it's like she's already someone who doesn't like to think like strategy. Not saying she isn't strategic, but she doesn't like to think strategy. She just wants a plan, and as soon as a plan is said, okay, that is done. And if anyone tries to say otherwise, I'm too stubborn to actually have an open mind about it. So that will just get me more enforced into my own decision. She's the person that, like, when a lot of people are like, oh, arguments aren't constructive because it just further entrenches someone in their original opinion. That is Laurel. Like, instead of having, like, we can get on here and we can have our bits with each other and have our little, like, you know, not arguments, but like our, like, differing opinions. A lot of us at least keep an open mind and be like, hear the other person out. Be like, okay, I see where you're coming from. No. Laurel's like, Lauren can tell me the sky is blue. And Laurel will agree to that. And then someone will be like, well, you know, it's actually a little pink right now because it's sunset. Nope, it's blue. The decision was made. It's blue. But it's nighttime. Blue! That's how she was acting.
She's the equivalent of people arguing politics on social media. You're never going to change the other person's
on social
mind.
media.
Now, I always go back to politics. It's my favorite, not my favorite. I hate it, but it always makes me laugh because people will post something on there. It's just like, why are you getting in an argument? If you're entrenched one side or the other, I personally don't care which side it is, and you see something from the differing point of view, not once has one person ever looked at that and been like, oh, I've been wrong this entire time. Like, that's a great point.
Exactly.
Once the side or group is picked, that's it for her. She's with that. She's with the plan. She's not going to steer away from the plan. Maybe a different day she could, but in that moment, what the plan was for deliberation, that's the plan, and no one better fuck it up, is the way she has always seen it.
Yeah. And so that's part 2 of part 3 at this point of my issue with Veronica agreeing to this plan, because, like, and a lot of these people, it's like a lot of you have known Laurel. You have played against her or you've seen her play the game. You know she's stubborn. And if you're already hearing that Cam is going to go against Tina, one, you should be like, man, if only we could have figured out a different way so that Tina could have been saved, maybe by not letting Cam be on the bottom. If only we had the power as an entire house of people versus this one person and her fiance. No, can't be done. Can't be done. We just have to bend to the will. But, like, of all people to go to, I would have went to Cam. and like brought like Cam and Avery into a room together or something, and they made a deal that like, hey, if Flora gets picked, Avery, do not go down there. Like, they make some sort of deal there. Not go to Laurel and be like, look, Laurel, this person who's definitely doesn't get entrenched in her own decisions, I would like it if you would protect my friend. And Laurel's like, God fucking damn it, we're already protecting your fucking star because we all want to run against you in the final. No, now I want Tina in even more because she's strong-arming me as you're strong-arming the entire house to bend to your will.
Which, so now that, just thinking some more of this out loud, why is exactly their plan to take Cara out after stealing her star? Just don't let her get a star, because it's Laurel, it's her ego. She probably wants to prove, being like, I'm going to send Cara home. But if you're the other three women that are there, let's just play defense. Laurel, you get to go take Veronica and steal her star. And our goal is just to box Cara out. That way she doesn't have an opportunity to get another star.
The risk you have is, which is why I'm saying the original plan should have always been Cara's get thrown into elimination, is their fear is that she will win a daily and be able to put herself into elimination to reclaim a star, and most likely hers or Nicole's.
But it's like, you're absolutely right, because if she wins a daily, she also gets to essentially choose the matchup she wants. Like,
yeah, and
it's no longer in Cam and Laurel's hands of, this is how we're going to take her out.
Right. It's now in the hands of the challenge gods of what's the elimination going to be. And Cara might get just to a point where she does not care what the elimination is and just puts herself down there because she can and she wants a star, as she should, the selfish way.
Right. Their only option now,
claim a star.
Their only option now is don't let her win a daily, basically. Because, yes.
Force her to lose or put her in the middle every single time.
Exactly. Because if she does win, she doesn't care who she goes against, especially at this point in where it's getting to the end and you have to have the star to run the final. I think at the beginning, like we talk about, people can pick and choose if they want to go in. But that's why I'm still ticked off at Avery that I'm mind boggled that she would not put herself in, because what is the best matchup for you? Who are you expecting to go against? Flora?
Like, if your only hope is I get to go in against Flora, that's not a good look. Like, yes, this women's roster is stacked, but there's also a good amount of people you can beat on any given day, because the challenge is the challenge and shit can happen. But we keep getting these Avery confessionals where she's like, I don't like how this house is moving. Everyone's just telling me what to do, but it's an individual game. So what, like, they obviously made her do the tease of like, well, what if I just disrupt it? And you have the Jay confessional be like Jay and Avery and I have talked. Like, we both have a similar thing where we want to find a way to get redemption. And what better opportunity than to just completely destroy this plan that an entire house built against just one singular person.
Maybe Avery's just been watching the challenge and going back to the skull twist, me like, well, if I wait long enough, I eventually get to go against Josh. It's an easy win. Move on to the final.
Unfortunately, Josh isn't here for you, Avery. But
we do have this weird chess scene prior to nominations.
I think it was once again just to be this weird thing of like, look at Cara trying to be a friend, even to someone who is currently betraying her and backstabbing her, and very, very soon treating her like absolute shit. Like, almost like dehumanizing how this, like, I don't even know what level of rage Laurel was at.
Especially when you just break it down to it, the reason why Laurel had all this rage built up is because Nicole's essentially illiterate and can't defend herself.
Well, she needs subtitles. That's why.
Well, Cara did make that dig. I'm surprised that Laurel was even up to want to even talk or play the chess game with her. But as soon as she's like, yeah, I'll play. And it looked normal until it wasn't normal, which is when we stepped outside.
Yeah, nominations.
What
Go
and
ahead,
like
Alex.
what? Why are you guys getting so fucking mad that the person? Because she even starts it by saying, "I know you guys won't actually listen to me, but at least like allow me to do this pitch." And she gives a pitch. It's not going to work. But then it's just like it's more rehashing because Nicole has to keep fighting with Cara, and Cara's gonna never back down at this point. This isn't fresh meat to Cara Maria. Like, this is a full grown ass Cara who can also choke the living life out of you if she wanted to. And like they're rehashing the whole thing of like Nicole being a bad partner, for lack of a better word. And in the meantime of Laurel already bullying the vote through without anyone actually doing a vote, then just like completely cuts into Cara. Like, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. You never know what you talk about. You don't understand how the fucking world works or what anything means. Like, you're a complete dumbass person. Like, I was uncomfortable. I can only imagine the people on site, players and cast included, or players, cast, production, everybody, like, how uncomfortable that had to have been.
There's a difference between it's being reality TV and these moments are going to happen, but it's honestly, it lowers my opinion of the likes of everyone that was out there. And we're talking about Leroy and we're talking about Adam. There's a game that's going on, drama's going to happen, but when someone's cutting into someone that deep, that vicious over and over again, that even if you're on the side with that person, that you can't just step in to say, hey, that's enough. Like, she gets the point. To have the show the tiniest bit of compassion right there, that's where, am I going to hold it over like an Adam and a Leroy long term? No, but that just bothers me because I feel like that's just kind of the right thing to do. Is you've made your point. We get where you're at. Let it go. Like, now you're just being vicious and nasty for no other purpose.
And like,
that's crossing the line. It's not reality TV, harsh. It's 3 steps beyond that.
And it's not even that, but like I hope like Laurel watches it all back, and then not only like sees just how uncomfortable it was when also Cara's like, I'm going to be proven right. And it's not a spoiler by any stretch. Cara's proven right in real life. But like you have Cara, who was willing to be public about her opinions to stand up for you. And all these people that you call your friends in this challenge house were in confessional talking shit on you. Behind your back. Smile to your face, talking shit behind your back. Where you can't do anything about it. So once again, who's your real friend? And don't give, once again, that when's the last time we talked outside the show? Who gives a flying fuck? Y'all are grown-ass people. You ain't 21 anymore. Like,
and I mean, that's especially, this should be the stage of all-stars, because I feel like you hear it more and more, the older that you get is, people have lives. We don't see each other all the time. But what happens when we're back together? It's like no time passed at all.
It picks right up where you left off. You see it so many times. You haven't seen somebody in 5 years have a conversation, have a beer, have a cocktail. Easy. Nothing changes.
A beer, a cocktail, Steve somewhere going a hand job.
So many hand jobs.
So many hand jobs. But it was just so uncomfortable. And like they just bully the vote through. And I'm not using bully in like this bullying sense, but they push it through. Like no one, we only hear 2 people say a name. And Laurel just like points at everyone and it's like, see, it's done. And like for now, I'm like, God damn, like if you weren't actually like a really good competitor, people would be looking at you in a very different light.
This isn't the first time we've seen it from Laurel, though. Like, I wouldn't even say this is the most vicious Laurel we've seen. This is kind of just her MO, that it's not every season, so that it still can kind of catch you off guard. But every 3 or 4 seasons, we just have an unhinged Laurel moment.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest example would be her and Big Easy, for sure. Would be the biggest
Her and Big
example.
Easy, her and Paula, her and Michelle. Like,
yeah,
there's
it's
a long list of people that she's had these moments with. And look, I'm not gonna be one of those people, which I've been seeing all across online, that Laurel is just like, y'all have to just take it for what it is. Laurel's a bad person at her core, because I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either.
I think she's extremely complex and has some baggage, and she was not in an environment for a lot of her life where she was able to learn the healthy approaches of how to deal with it. And because of that, like we see with a lot of people on the challenge, it comes out as rage, as things that we would define as a bad person for what they're doing. I'm trying to keep an open mind, because we've also seen the good in Laurel.
Yeah.
And like the good is good. The bad, though, the bad moments are just extremely bad.
We talked about it yesterday, that I feel like Laurel's someone who was never really properly rated. That when she's at her highest of her highs, I feel like she's propped up too much. But when she's at her lowest of the lows, she gets drugged down too low. And I always just think that she's somewhere in between. Like, she's a complex character that we're going to, for better or for worse, we're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And your opinion is probably going to change on Laurel every season that she's on, to some degree.
And the one thing I will give her credit to, as opposed to everyone else here, is there's no absolute fucking doubt that you're getting authentic reaction from her. Like, everything's authentic there. Like, it's not her trying to paint a picture afterwards. It's her giving her genuine thoughts. Whether she's right or wrong, that's a different story. But the authentic nature of it is there. And like, she at least is one of the people who's at least like has the balls to say, I want Cara out because she's won an individual final. She is a threat, and we can't risk having her at the end against us. Like, that part of it, at least she communicates that instead of trying to hide it behind it. Like, the main reason being, oh, well, she's shady. Oh, she said I was going to take her star. I'm like, nah, that ain't it. Like, at least she may be wrong about a lot of stuff, but at least she's right about that.
Right. She's not trying to play it up for the cameras or anything. She's just straight shooting with what's exactly on her mind, how she's truly feeling in that specific time.
Yeah. And so let's move, I think, to the last talking point. And no, it's not the elimination, because who cares? It's Avery's decision.
Yes.
I think that's the last main thing of this episode.
Yeah, because we're going there now.
Yeah. Which we've already touched on it a little bit. It's just, I don't know what she's waiting for. This is a prime opportunity, because is she really going to get that matchup with a Veronica or a Flora? Probably not, because she was gifted this win. So she's most likely not going to win another one, which if she does, you're probably going to see 2 good competitors thrown in there. You're not going to want that. Or you finish in the losing group and you're thrown in there with absolutely no control over who you're going against.
I ultimately, as much as she was talking about, I want to be playing individual and I don't like seeing people like forcing decisions to be made, I think the decision was forced for her. She was scared of what the ramifications would be if she took Cam's spot. And now it's like, if I take Cam's spot, I win. Even if I take Cara's star, I'm the one that they're going to go after. If I take Nicole's star, maybe they'll be bitter enough to still go after me, but like, that's what I would have done is I go down, I beat Tina, I grab Nicole's star because they were dumb enough to let her say vulnerable because, we needed her in the vote. And then guess what? They can be mad all they want. Are they really going to go after me? Or are they going to go after the person that they're so scared of that they got a whole house convinced to throw a competition? There's the decision was plain as day, and she made the wrong call.
Do we say that this is the worst move of the season so far?
I'd say this episode is the worst move of the season for basically the entire house, except at the moment, Cam and Leroy. And in terms of just image, Cara. Like everyone else, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's arguably the worst move of the season. There was just a lot to unpack with this episode I think what makes it seem so much worse is everything that was compounded together in this episode. That it was all that it took is that one little Jenga piece to kind of disrupt everything. And the fact that nobody did it and they let them stack it perfectly. This is just what it led to. And it leaves a sour taste in your mouth, being like, what the hell just happened?
And then we flip.
Yeah. And my other last complaint is to production itself. Because let's say Cara is doing something shady in the house. Maybe she is doing something that's got everybody all up in arms. We haven't seen it. You've refused to show it to us. You've refused to show any inclination to back it up, which makes us as a viewer go, okay, you're either hiding something or this entire cast is full of shit. So which is it? Because you can't keep making these references to these things that allegedly happened without one being specific, giving context, and showing at least some sense of it. Like you can't have that be part of the story by also withholding the story itself.
In my head, I like to believe that Cara is contracting Steve out for all these hand jobs with people around the house. And that's how she's being shady. But I don't know. We haven't seen it.
I have listened to people that have gone from the show on different podcasts voicing that many storylines have not been shown throughout this season. And there's a couple pieces that we are missing that aren't included. But if you are going to make this entire episode what it was, show us something that us as a viewer are going to believe, okay, that's where we see it, versus us having to interpret what has been going on throughout the entire season for everyone to build within those confessionals what they said about Cara.
Yeah, like I've seen, rumblings of there's storylines and drama that's happening that were not being shown on screen. And I don't see everything, so maybe I missed it. I haven't seen one that relates to Cara as for why everyone's calling her shady. Like I saw more stuff with the whole Ayanna of it all and Janelle and things from earlier in the season, but I haven't seen anything that elicits why everyone is so against Cara right now, other than the fact that she's a badass.
Yeah, absolutely. Praise be Cara, who's a badass. I'm thankful for you for being on our television screens, well, our computer screens, basically. I guess television, depending on which apps you're using and when. But yeah, she's making the season. She's making the season, whether it's through her own means or through everyone just hating the fact that she exists as a dominant force in a game. She's giving us stuff.
Always good as the underdog. That's where she comes out on top.
This is where it's where she thrives. It's a great reminder. It's kind of the perfect reintroduction to Cara back into the challenge world, like her this season, because it's such a classic Cara storyline. You feel bad for her. You want to help her. You want things to go in a different direction, but she keeps on persevering. And hopefully she does the same the rest of the season. What we skipped over was the elimination. I don't know. TJ calls Tina a tramp, and there's an elimination that happens. And Cam steals.
Cam, I never see you. It's been so long since I've seen you down here. Tina, I see you way too much.
I love TJ.
I love TJ. He does a little backflip at the end of the episode on the trampoline and just goes, I still got it. But yeah, that's where the episode ends. Everyone's just like, how the hell did we just let this happen? I'm like, how did you? Rewatch the episode. That's how you let it happen. But
I would like to think, because I know you had brought that up before, Alex, and mentioned when we were talking offline about the confessional from Ryan there, that is my hope, is that's the last thing that we see. Is it does, I don't know if it's him who leads the charge, if it's someone else, but it kind of leads that whole Derek, Ryan, whoever else they can pull together charge to, we're not going to let. Handjob Steve's always involved one way or another, but we're going to take
always
this
got his
in a
hands
different direction.
deep in it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just my hope, is that was the sign that, we're not going to keep letting them get exactly what they want.
Okay.
We're going to put some resistance back.
Over under 1.5 episodes until Cara gets her star back.
1.5 under. I don't know.
I'll do the over to be different.
I don't think they're actually going to vote her in to give her what her way is.
No.
My hope is that she comes out on a mission, beast whatever the daily is, because they can't scam around it to make sure she loses, and she's going down in that elimination against anyone in that house.
Her best option. I think that's the best way for her to get her star back, for sure.
I'm hopeful. I'm so hopeful.
I just want to see it.
Do we have anything else to get off our chest about this episode and everyone's bad gameplay?
That's all I have.
What a guy.
What a guy. What a gem. Okay. To end we have our segment of our blind rank 1 through 5. They don't know the category. They don't know the players. The category is most likely to start a fight.
All right, this is gonna be good.
So 1A, 1B, 1C. All right, go on.
I'm gonna start Camilla.
Oh,
drunk or sober?
That's a great question.
To decide.
Okay, so we're doing it in total where she's either drunk or sober, so a combination of the two. It's 1 through 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you're telling me she's definitely drunk, like that's a number 1 seed if I've ever seen it. What are you thinking, Lauren?
The Camillinator. I would say 2 or 3 because there's some good options that can still come up, but I would be comfortable putting in the 2 slot.
I agree with 2, just because there's some people that will start more fights. There's not too many people that will start a stupider fight or something that's completely out of bounds or uncalled for, which we have seen her do several times sober as well. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave the 1 spot open for a white whale, but I agree with 2.
2.
Okay. Number 2 is Laurel. Had to be topical.
What I always say though with Laurel, some of them aren't fights because some people don't say much back. Because look, the big easy scenario, for instance, he didn't really say anything. She just was going in, laying in on him, and he didn't say anything back. So when I'm thinking fight, I'm also interpreting other people clapping back or getting themselves involved.
You really don't see anyone else respond with her. I mean, the only time that we've really seen the pushback, and I'm sure there's others, but comes first to mind is Rivals, where it's Tyler kind of stands up for Paula. But that's more standing up. I'm fine with having Laurel lower. I think this is almost a smokescreen just because we saw it, so we're supposed to rank her higher than what she actually is.
Do you want to go 4?
Let's go 4.
4. I think 4 is solid. I think there's somebody that would be below her.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
I love his facial expression.
Next. So you have her at 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we got Camilla at 2, Laura at 4. Next one is Diem.
Diem didn't really start fight. I mean, she'd make passive aggressive comments that would piss people off, but
Yeah, you gotta throw her at 5.
yeah.
Because I can't, like, I'm hoping the next 2 are 3 and 1 worthy.
It's gonna be like Kenny Clark, but whatever.
Yeah. We have to, let's throw at 5 because
yeah, let's put her
we
at
don't
5.
have too many
Because I mean, her only like fights were really with CT, but that's more like relationship, and in those instances, CT had generally done something wrong. There were confrontations, but when I think of Diem, I don't think fights.
She wasn't going to push and shove somebody, really. She's just going to have an argument back and forth.
Yeah, it's sassy comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wes
is up there.
He is.
So he's one. Wes is 1 or he's 3.
1 or 3. So I'm trying not to read into this too much, but last week he ended with a heavy hitter that we were able to slot into the number 1 position. And so I don't know if he'll do that again this week and we would get that lucky.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, I don't like Wes. Definitely, he's a shit stirrer. If we're just saying strictly off of the list, Wes is below Camilla. Like, if we were able to navigate it around and edit it as we're going, Wes is below Camilla. Like, so logically,
For sure.
I would think we put him at 3. But yes, we run that risk of if we do that, I don't know, puts.
You guys make me laugh so much.
I'm willing to do what Avery didn't do and risk it, which wouldn't have been a risk because she would have won the elimination, in my honest opinion. But let's not hold back like so many people did this episode.
Put him. All right.
Put him at 3. And if I'm wrong, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so a guy just confirmed that you put Wes at 3.
Yeah, Wes is at 3.
I'm gonna mention something before I put it who you put at number 1 for most likely to start a fight.
Oh, we fucked up. We fucked up.
Oh, y'all fucked up.
Okay.
Dan mentioned him. The Joker, Kenny Clark.
But he wouldn't
number 1.
He wouldn't have made sense at 3 either. Like,
I had the 5 names written down, but you guys like set it up for me. That was like I just needed to switch Wes and Kenny for me because you called him out. I'm like, I can't say it now. They'll just put him at 3.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't have made sense at 3 either.
It was the right thing to do. I mean, I feel that's the risk you always have, whatever your last name is. I mean, we don't know if MTV would give the man a call back. Maybe we have a little badass over there that starts fights.
We'll have to first talk to JG MTV to get to MTV, and then I got you. But yeah, so most likely to start fight, we got number 1, Kenny Clark. 2, Camilla.
We don't know.
3, Wes. 4, Laurel, and 5, Diem. Put in the chat who you think would be your number 1 for who would start a fight in challenge history. It doesn't have to be these 5. I just want to see those comments. And while you're doing that, give us 5 stars. If you're listening to us on as a podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, click to subscribe, click that bell for all notifications, and give us a thumbs up because that helps distribute our video out to more people who want to watch challenge content. Yeah, that's my spiel. Damn, what are we doing? We're in the Survivor off season.
We are in the Survivor off season. If you missed it last night, myself, Alex, and stand-up comedian Wayne Mehmet, we talked all about the Survivor 46 finale, broke it down, had a lot of fun with it. If you're looking for more coverage, sometime later this week, I know Matt Bischoff will be back because he had a miss last night, but he wants to speak about it. You'll be able to hear his takes as well. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with Survivor for the rest of the offseason. I'm sure you'll see more stuff pop up on the feeds. So just make sure that you're liked and subscribed to the YouTube channel. That way you get notified every time that we go live. But we still have plenty of other things going on at the Reality After Show Network. Of course, myself, Alex, and Lauren will be back next week as we continue to do coverage of the Challenge All-Stars 4. If you're not watching The GOAT on Amazon, now is a great time. It's a great holiday weekend to catch up on it. And then come right back to Reality After Show. There's a great podcast with Wendell, Bryce, and Derek from Big Brother as they're talking week by week episodes of The GOAT. I know sometime in the near future, Johnny and King George will be back as they're starting their Reality Kings podcast. And then keep an eye on the channel because we have much more that'll be heading your way. So make sure that you, once again, like and subscribe to us on YouTube. That way you get notified. And as Alex mentioned, wherever you're listening to your podcast at, like and review, give us 5 stars. Takes a few seconds, helps us out tremendously. But as always, the best way to support the podcast is become a patron. You can do that at realitypatron.com. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, Johnny will send your money back. It gets you access to the secret Facebook group, all of our Patreon coverage podcasts, including our weekly Q&A and some other things that'll be coming down the feed. But Alex, Lauren, any final thoughts?
These
Not really.
people better shape up, cut the strings, be your own person, make the moves. Don't let a future married couple own the game and have a third of the final slots. Be better. That's my
Or you'll
final
get a
thoughts.
rage from Mr. Trias again.
And as I said, my rage was very tame. I thought it was going to come out more in force, but a 24-hour waiting period between watching the episode and talking about it, I think, calmed me down a little bit. Just a
Imagine
little
if you
bit.
did it right after. If you would have done it right after
Oh.
you watched the episode. Because you hit the group chat and were like, what the heck was that?
Yeah. Oh no, I was in a full-on rage yesterday, but I'm not here. So everyone, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you all next week.
See y'all.